Thank you, Faye, for starting the recording. Crystal, good afternoon. All right, it's 2 o'clock. Thank y'all for dropping your name and your district in the chat box. I'm going to ask for at least a couple volunteers to answer the question in just a moment. But as you know, this is our January installment of virtual office hours. Um, we're so glad you could be here. We know you have lots of things on your plate. We're cognizant of that. We've slimmed down this agenda in response to that. But we did have some things we wanted to share with you really quickly. So we thank you for bringing in 2022 with us. Of course, I'm Dr. Hartwell, and I'm joined today by our effectiveness team. Um, Rodney's here, Beverly's here, Faye's here, Vicki is here with us. Um, Lila and um, Lila and Dr. Howard are training today, so they send their regards. Um, so just a reminder to eliminate your background noise. If you could turn your microphone on mute until you want to share something with us. You're welcome to use the chat feature to share your reactions, thumbs up, thumbs down, to drop in questions, so that we can answer them in the virtual room. Just realize that some of them we may have to get back to you on. Faye is working the chat for us today, and she'll be monitoring questions and responding accordingly. So thank her for that, and thanks to Beverly for running the slides in Kim's absence. Okay, let's look. Oh, before we move off this question, I think it was Adrian. Adrian, you were going to reply, give us some feedback.
Yes, we are. For one thing, we have a lot of teacher absences,
Mhm.
and so we have had to pull not only our department but other departments to cover classes.
Oh,
And so while that is very supportive,
mm,
we're supporting the schools in that way. It's almost counterproductive to some of our longer term goals of teacher retention and support for induction teachers, because we don't have the availability that we had prior to this to be in their classrooms and schools with them, because we are subbing.
because everybody's spread out. Yeah, got it.
But I mean, and it's just not our department, it's all of central staff.
Mm, okay, yeah, it's tough, but sounds like y'all are putting all of the resources to bear to solve the problem. So I want to thank you for sharing that, Adrian. Kathy, give us a little bit more about what's happening in your district.
You're talking to me, right?
Kathy Anderson.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm getting some in and out on my internet.
Oh goodness. Okay.
We too have put together an attendance incentive, and we are going to pay $500 at the end of a semester for folks who have not used more than 3 sick leave days, non-COVID related, by the end of the semester.
Got it. Okay.
And we too are covering everything under the sun. However, I don't want to say this because I might get hit. We only have 7 staff absences in our whole district right now.
Mhm.
So that's good for our little
Mhm.
small district. But we are really working those protocols, and we are really doing a lot to try to keep this out of our schools. Testing centers, you name it. And so it's a journey. I think you're frozen.
Julie's frozen, but I think Rodney or someone is going to jump on and call on someone else.
Sounds good. Thank you, Beverly.
Was there anybody else that wanted to expound? And then if Dr. Hartwell is not back on in a little bit, we'll see how we could move forward. We see some great answers in the chat.
I'll respond. This is Cheryl Warren.
Yes, Dr.
We are approaching this situation a little differently. We are doing some counseling. We're having webinars through VOC, rehab, mental health, taking care of yourself, and also wellness, the physical as well as the mental part. I'm not over that program, but I have attended 2 of the webinars.
Thanks for sharing that, Dr. Warren. We did start having that conversation in December, right? Making sure that we do self-care and remind our educators, help them practice self-care as well. So thank you.
I am back. Can y'all hear me?
Yes, Dr. Hartwell.
Oh, okay, good. I apologize for that. So a lot of SEL, well, not SEL, but that's social emotional support going on. I read one of the chats that said districts are holding off on new initiatives. And I want you to know that we have had conversations like that in the office, that we are not trying to press anything out that's new, that of course is not a benefit. You're going to learn a little bit more about the professional learning library, which we feel would be a benefit. But outside of that, we have heard that loud and clear. So we are designing our supports to be supportive instead of something that's just additional. So I hope that you use the valuable feedback as you just scroll up and down in the chat. And thanks to everybody for providing that feedback. So let's look at the next slide. Our agenda, as I said, is very tight. We wanted to utilize your time wisely. We're going to share some feedback about a professional learning opportunity that you may want to take advantage of. You, folks in your district, leaders in your schools, about a talent learning webinar. I'm also going to share some information. Faye's going to come in and share some information about some professional learning resources. A few adept implementation reminders. We're going to tackle district induction count. You should have already received an email from Dr. Howard. And then we're going to close out and get you back to your day. So on the next slide, Talent Matters webinar. We've heard from teacher leaders, assistant principals, and principals how hard you are all working, and we know that, to lift up your educators during another difficult year. We've heard some of those challenges already. And we know from talking with you and other district leaders how important it's been to focus on keeping effective teachers and helping less effective teachers continue to improve. So we hope that this section offers some resources to help you address both those needs. So first, a Talent Matters webinar series. And our conversations with principals, personnel leaders, and instructional leaders, the need for sharing fresh ideas about recruitment and retention has come up loud and clear. As I said, we'd heard a lot of it today. So this office is committed to supporting school and district leaders to build that expertise in best practices around some of the struggles you're having in terms of recruiting, retaining, and developing high quality teachers. So we have a partnership with experts at the U.S. Human Capital Academy to provide a series of webinars focused on the topics you suggested in earlier office hours sessions. So Faye has dropped a flyer with more information in the chat. The audience for these sessions is both district personnel and district instructional leaders, although school leaders are also welcome. So please plan to join us for as many of these sessions as your schedule would allow. Feel free to bring friends from other offices in the district, and as I said, in the school also. More than ever, retaining that top talent that we all need is everyone's job right now. So our first session is on January the 19th. All right, that's coming soon from 1 to 2:30. All of these sessions are an hour and a half. designed to have as minimal impact on your day as possible. That topic will be understanding best practices around supporting and retaining excellent teachers. That session is going to include key strategies and tools to develop supportive cultures that retain high quality educators. So for that one and for all of these, make sure that you register as soon as possible to reserve your space in the webinar. Faye has also dropped the registration link. Thank you, ma'am. In that link, there's going to be a drop down for you to select which date. You don't have to attend all of them, but to select which date you want to attend, and it's going to be offered by through Zoom. So then we have remaining dates on the 23rd, the 16th, and the 27th of April. So if you have any questions about these sessions, again, it's all around recruitment, retention, and supporting educators. Some of the challenges that you guys have already talked about. If you want to learn a little more from this national organization where they specialize in this work, the U.S. Human Capital Academy, please make sure that you register as soon as possible for one or all of these webinars. Okay? All right, I'm going to kick it to Faye, who's going to talk a little bit more about some of the resources that are available to you. Faye?
Thanks so much, Dr. Hartwell. So this is a very short section, but we wanted to share with you our excitement about our upcoming new professional learning library inside SELEAD.org. We're currently partnering with PowerSchool and EdImpact, or Educational Impact, so that we could provide you with a more robust learning library. So in this new library, we'll have videos that are aligned with the SCTS 4.0 standards, as well as the PADEP standards. But then some new features include having mini courses and full-length courses that evaluators or educators, even administrators, can choose to assign to the educator to help them grow in the area of refinement that's been identified. We hope that we will have this new professional learning library inside SELEAD sometime later in this semester. So at the moment, we know that we do not have a working professional learning library in SELEAD.org. So we have come up with a playlist for you to use for the meantime. But next month, we'll give you more updates on the professional learning library that we're working on. So on your screen, you'll see what this playlist includes. It includes some resources from Clemson University's Reading Recovery Training Center, some from our partner NIET, who is the author of our STS 4.0 rubric. I am going in the chat the link to the playlist of resources. We'll also be sharing with you next month some resources from our other partners, Center for Teaching Quality, and then U.S. Human Capital Academy. Also, we encourage you, if you have other resources that you use, you have links you want to share, please drop them in the chat, or you can send those to your regional contact, and then we'll include them in our playlist. But without further ado, I am going to turn the mic back over to Dr. Hartwell.
Okay, sorry everybody, my mouse was unruly. I'm very excited about that professional learning library. You are going to be able to access it from inside SELEAD, and as Faye said, it's linked to the standards already. I mean, to the SCTS indicators. So when you have an area of reinforcement and refinement, you'll already have resources linked to the actual area, and I think you're going to really enjoy it. So we look forward to sharing some more information about that. But let's move forward and talk about a few reminders for adept implementation. So first we want to look at the general things that should already be occurring from October through January. We do our best to support you with reminders, but we feel like we wanted to share this with you today. Many of you have this first reminder as part of your normal routine, but we felt like it bears repeating. So please confirm that the preliminary evaluation cycle, as the pre-conferences, the observation, and the post-conferences have occurred. You can look at the bubbles on the education search page or the bars within the evaluation records, especially if there's a school you're concerned about. Go ahead and get down to the bar level. Within an evaluation, within a series of evaluations, you can search for summative evaluations, whatever the rationale. Please make sure that you're checking the status of preliminary cycle completion. Who knows what the rest of the school year is going to bring? So right now, while we've got our handle around, some of it, let's go ahead and make sure we've got folks completing to put ourselves in the best possible scenario if something goes crazy. In general, the bubbles should at least be partially filled in by now. And in general, your bar should be at 50%. That's if all the signatures are there. So that's in general, but there's no substitute for you spot checking this data. This is a perfect time, either right as you transition into the final cycle. If some things need to be addressed, this is a good time to address them before we get too far into the final cycle. So wanted to just share that reminder. We know this year has started off with a lot of challenges. So if a change is needed to the preliminary cycle timeline and your ADEPT plan, please contact your education associate. Okay. So if you've had changes or you feel like you need changes or you've got a school behind or multiple schools behind and you need your plan adjusted, please let us know. The plan is a work in progress. The timeline is a work in progress. So there's no shade either way, but we do want to be kept in the loop about how you're progressing. Wanted to share this reminder about highly consequential evaluation. So please take a look if you have any. These evaluations involve those annual contract teachers who are undergoing their second summative evaluation and those annuals who are returning to the field following a state sanction. So there are no changes to the team members, not even under flexibility. So be sure there are at least 3 persons on those teams. That could be the principal or their designee, a content expert, and then another team member. And please check that their observations are loaded and signed in SC Lead. If you're an import district, please ensure that wherever you're housing that data, that you also have those observations loaded. We've gotten some feedback regarding the presence of information messages. Those are those blue messages. When the district has decided to apply the available 21-22 flexibility. So you've applied flexibility, you've waived an observation, let's say, and you're still getting an error message, an information message. We've been assured by Randa that it's okay. You will be able to complete those evaluations at the end of the year. I do want to caution you, however, please be careful to recognize if the information message is due to the flexibility being applied, or is it because the process has not been executed with fidelity? So look carefully for this. Don't ignore the blue messages. That's not my big takeaway today. You should pay attention to them. But if you have levied the flexibility, don't be alarmed. We've been assured that you can still complete that observation at the end of the year. If something has gone wrong in the evaluation process, you need to pay attention to that. Okay, something may require further inspection. If you decided to take the flexibility and you see an information message that is concerning you, please make sure you reach out to one of us on the team. Finally, let's talk a little bit about special areas of evaluation. We encourage you to be vigilant about the completion of the preliminary cycle components because this is our first year, right, for implementing these tools. So for example, be sure that for the school librarian, and that the school counselor plans that those plans are signed. Okay, this would include the preliminary approval conference and the preliminary evaluation conference. Make sure that they've been filled in, completed, and entered into the system with signatures. For speech language professionals, check the status of their preliminary scoring conferences, right? You don't want to get behind on that. Has it been completed? Are the signatures present? So this is our first year going through, even though it came at a time when there's a lot going on, we still have to hold ourselves responsible for fidelity to the model. So please take the opportunity to check in with your special area evaluations. On this next slide, this is just a reference slide, really. In the copy of the PowerPoint that Faye has provided, there are notes. This is primarily for our new or newer ADEPT leads. We're providing this slide with just a few reminders regarding how you're going to wrap up the preliminary cycle and how to use some of the visuals on your landing page to assess where you are. Okay, so there are detailed notes in the PowerPoint copy you received from Faye. Please review if needed. Contact us if you have any questions. I talked about the flexibility before, and if you are applying the flexibility and you get an information message, you'll see the blue message here, the blue box here. That's what I'm talking about. So if you see that you are missing the minimum number of observations or observers, but you know you've applied the flexibility and nothing else in the record is awry, then you will be able to complete. Okay, but I just wanted to share this page with you and let our newer leads know you've got some additional guidance in the PowerPoint presentation. All right, I'm going to move to district induction count, and I'm going to kick it to Rodney.
All right, thank you, Dr. Hartwell. All right, we'll go ahead and start with some reminders about induction and mentoring. Again, Dr. Howard is training today, so this is typically her information to cover, but we're going to try to do as good as she would on today. In preparation for upcoming district induction counts, it's very important that you all enter educator contract levels into sclead.org. Your district will receive funding, as you probably already know, based on the number of Induction 1 teachers that you report. Okay. To determine these numbers, we will review the evaluation records in sclead.org, and you will receive an email, if you haven't already, from Dr. Howard to verify the number of Induction 1 educators in your district. So be on the lookout for that email if you haven't received it yet. And that includes both teachers and special area educators. All right. If you have any questions about any of this, then please reach out to your education associate. Okay. So to ensure that your district's counts are accurate, please see to it that all Induction 1 teachers, contract levels, and evaluation levels are entered into sclead.org using either the bulk evaluations feature in the system or using the import spreadsheet available to those who are not using the system directly, so those import districts. If you are using the evaluations tool, contract levels will be set up based on end of the year recommendations reported last year, 2020-21. For any educators whose evaluation contract level reads no data, teachers that are new to the state or the profession, such as induction teachers, evaluation information will need to be added for those educators. If you're using the import spreadsheet, you will see multiple tabs at the bottom of the spreadsheet representing the different types of educators. If there are educators on the spreadsheet that are no longer in your district or do not require reporting, please delete the entire row of information for that educator. And to do that, you'll simply right-click on the first column of the row and delete it. You will need to complete the first two columns of the generated spreadsheet and save it. Educators that populate for your district are based on roster set up in SC Educator. If your SC Educator lists are not accurate, then that means that your SCLE.org records will not be accurate. So it's very important that you review your SC Educator records and fix any issues that you see. To ensure the numbers are accurate, use the Staff Evaluations Adept report. And you can filter this report to look specifically at Induction 1 teachers and compare that to your district's internal records. Again, if you need any additional support with mentoring and induction count, please reach out to your education associate. And I'm now going to turn it over to Beverly.
Okay. Feel free to hop on the mic with your questions. In the meantime, while you're gathering your thoughts, I'll ask my team members who can see the chat if we had anything. I know we had one question in the chat previously about mentor training, and I answered it in the chat. But as long as you have that requirement for the continuing contract status of the educator, then it's fine if they're a retired educator returning on an LOA. If they want to become a mentor, as long as they have that continuing contract history behind them and the recommendation of their principal or a district office staff member, they are welcome to become a mentor.
All right. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
I just wanted to let you know that in the chat and her up patiently, Melanie with Lexridge 5.
Hey there, thanks so much. I just actually put it in the chat, but my question is, of course, with COVID ramping back up and rearing its ugly head as usual, I wanted to know if there's been any thought in extending the face-to-face requirement for mentor training. You know, it seems like it's extended a little bit and then hopefully COVID gets better and then it doesn't. So I just would like there to be some consideration that maybe we don't let that, I just would say maybe we don't let that continue to linger, because I still haven't done that face-to-face requirement from last year. But I wonder, can we do that in small groups online? How can we do that so that we're not trying to play catch up from 2 years ago?
Thank you so much, Melanie. We don't have an answer for you right now. We would really rather get you something definitive from Dr. Howard. We will
I would
share
recommend
that.
putting that in an email to Dr. Howard.
That's a good point.
Okay.
Absolutely.
I'll do that. I just, and I don't know how everybody else feels, but it seems like when we try to plan it, it's when COVID comes about and then we're out and we're about 2 years. I mean, we have all of last year's folks and this year's, and that to me, we need to do something to just accommodate for that. Either we do small groups online or something. So, or
Let's
just
do a thumbs up if you agree. Is that
we do partner with
share?
Sarah for that, and so those recommendations, you know, are taken very seriously.
All right, I saw a couple of thumbs up. Yeah. First of all, let's get a sense of how this is playing across the state. Is this an issue for everybody? Thumbs up, yes, in the chat. Got a couple of agrees. Okay. We just want to get a sense of how it's rolling around. All right. Somebody was speaking. My apologies.
Oh, I apologize. This is Melissa Tate.
Hey, Melissa.
Hope everyone's well and a happy new year. My question may have to be referred to Dr. Howard. This is going back to what I was told years ago. You know how we have the veteran teachers that start out in induction, they go all the way up until annual 4, then we start them over back on induction. I know we cannot count them to get money for them, but they're an SC lead listed as induction 1 because they're starting over. Can we leave them in there as long as you all know we're not counting them, or what advice can you give me?
Are you talking about international teachers?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. That's a good question for you to send to Dr. Howard. How would you differentiate between teachers looping back around through the international cycle versus a first time induction one? Did I capture your question? Melissa?
Yes, it did. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. We're taking these questions also, and we'll share them, but it's good to just shoot it to Dr. Howard in an email. These are great questions. Keep them coming. Trish, you said, is
Charlene
there?
Doctor had a question in the chat. Can Rodney
Charlene?
review the information about the spreadsheet for induction one teachers? What exact information do you need, Charlene?
Yeah, that's what I was about to respond to Charlene. Charlene, that's for import districts. Is your district import?
No, my district does not import. You were speaking something about, and this is my first year.
Mhm.
So the report that Dr. Howard sends, I guess, you were saying something about deleting an entire row. I caught.
Yeah, that's if you're using the spreadsheet to upload your educators. If you're not using if your district is not an import district, then your data should already be in sclead.org, and you can just filter to check by your induction one teachers to see if
Okay.
it matches up with what Dr. Howard sends.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Is there anyone on the call who has not gotten the induction count email from Dr. Howard? She has sent them out to everybody. So if somebody has not yet received it, we want to be able to let her know. Anybody? Drop your name and district in the chat that you have not received that email, and we'll share that with Dr. Howard because she has sent them already. So we want to let her know if something hasn't gone through. Trish, thank you for the feedback, echoing what Melanie shared. Any other questions? Either something about what we talked about, or another issue that's popping up?
Can I pop in for a second?
Who's speaking?
This is Trish. I'm sorry.
Trish, of course.
I just wanted to follow up on that. Thank you, Faye. I appreciate that. And just with the caveat that we have a conference day in February that we were hoping to do some face-to-face and some virtual, but now pretty much everything has been moved to virtual.
Mm-hmm.
And we had tentatively planned to do our 1 hour face-to-face and just have multiple sessions all day.
Okay.
So no pressure, but if anything gets resolved
Yeah.
in the next 2 weeks, I mean, I hate to keep, I guess my thing is I hate to keep these people hanging on.
You want to
And
know if there's any
and
wiggle
our
room.
hands,
Yeah.
you know, we're just fighting something we can't control. So I appreciate you listening to me. Thank you.
100%. Duly recorded. I'm gonna get that to her, and she'll get Melanie's email. So we'll
Is that a
reiterate to see
Sarah?
her.
Is that going to be an issue that has to be addressed with Sarah too?
I don't want to speak to that because I don't know for sure. I would imagine, but let me let you just get the definitive response from Dr. Howard just to make sure. Okay.
Thank you so much. You guys
You're
are so
welcome.
sweet. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Daniel, are you next?
Yeah, thank you. Just to piggyback on Melanie from Lexington 5, where we're having issue is the 18 hours on the end of the 5-year cycle for the mentors, getting the 4.0 18 hours in. I mean, I know we could do that virtually, but still, it's just not quite yet the same to be able to pull some of that off virtually. That's where we're having the issue. We were fortunate with the 1 hour add-on that we got some of that knocked out of the fall, but not all of it.
Okay. All right. That's good context. Thank you for that.
I guess my
Going back
question
to
is can we get into some sort of extension on that? Because that 18 hours has been tough. Just the demands that we have on the teachers, like we even discussed at the beginning of the session.
Yeah.
That's been, I just can't go there right now.
Daniel, drop it in an email to Dr. Howard to make sure that the guts of what you said, we'll provide the context since we have had this conversation with you, and we'll share. Okay. Melanie absolutely agrees. Speaking of what Daniel's talking about, what about that? Let's get some feedback. in the chat agree with what Daniel shared, the concern that Daniel shared? How widespread is that agreement?
This is Melanie Cohen again. If you don't mind, I just want to go back and say, I think what Daniel is saying is so on point. It goes back to the question that was posed at the very beginning of our session, which is what are we doing for teachers? And I just firmly believe that that is something that we could take off of their plate right now, because we have teachers who are just barely hanging on and we are going to lose people from mentoring if we keep trying to request that they do these hours. So that's where I am with it.
Well, in addition to that, I am working on scheduling cohort groups to do that evaluator training that mentors are required to do. And again, we're working at trying to take things off their plates. And I'm adding, this extended training back onto it, so that the mentors, that we have that 5-year time frame for the 18 hours, but also to get that evaluator training that's required in, the people that were trained the first year, we're coming up on in 23, in which their 5-year would be up. And so that means right now we need to get this additional training in. So that's a lot to continue to add. So if that time frame can be extended, then that would be helpful.
Thank you, Ronnie. Sharon, thank you for adding that additional context around the requirement to also be SCTS certified. We'll share that with Dr. Howard as well. Again, we can't promise anything today. We're simply going to be the joyful messengers of what your concerns are. And Dr. Howard will help us figure it out. Dr. Howard, in consultation with Lila, and I'm sure Sarah, they'll help us figure it out. All right. Any other questions, concerns?
General
Let's
discussion.
do another, I'm sorry, Daniel. Let's do another 3 minutes so we can get y'all out of here. Go ahead, Daniel.
Okay, thank you. Just to add into that same general discussion, I mean, just even some of the brief feedback I've heard from the other districts, I wouldn't mind a hard review on that overall requirement on that 18. When NADA 4.0 is fully immersed and we are engaging our continuing contract educators on continuing formative at least once every 5 years, and we are doing it very faithfully in Richland 1, and I'm sure it's the case in other districts. To give them 18 hours on something that they've already experienced as an educator and are mentoring others utilizing, I really would like for us to do a hard review on whether or not that 18 and the 4.0 is needed.
Dr. Hartwell, I'm going to jump in, and this may be too early, but maybe to make many of our friends feel a little bit better. There was a very informal surface conversation about looking into these things that you're actually asking about. It has not been a deep conversation, but because we are all aligned with what can we take off the plates that are not as efficient or as necessary, how do we redo things? That is actually part of one of the things that Lila kind of in the surface, maybe it's time to look into these guidelines in terms of mentoring. I didn't really want to, spread that out because we don't have, a full-on conversation, but I think this conversation that we're having will really back that conversation to keep happening and for us to truly dig deep into that topic. But I wanted to share it so that that we are also thinking in the same wavelength as you are, and don't want you to leave today and still kind of worried that nothing's going to happen. So we'll definitely bring it back to the table to make sure we have that deeper conversation that our director kind of already was thinking about. So I would say kudos to Lila for already having that foresight that she knew that our districts would need some kind of help in this area. So hopefully that makes our friends feel a little bit.
Yeah, I think Lila hears from a lot of you guys and girls, and then we share a lot of your feedback with her too. So yeah, she's very receptive to that. Um, Angelia, legislative support is always appreciated for recruiting and retaining teachers. Not sure if there's any news on that front, but we will chat with Lula and see if there is from the legislative front. Is there any news about the professionalism domain being revised? Trish, I'm not sure what that question means.
Dr. Hartwell, I think it was brought up in previous office hours. We've asked that question about the timing, and I think Lula may have sent a survey a while back about asking, how do we feel in the timeline? Should we change professionalism? I don't think we've dug into the data yet of the survey that Lila sent out some time back. So that's a good prompt for us to see. But we haven't had the discussion yet, but I do recall that there was surveys sent out around that. So that's probably what Trish is asking about.
Okay, thank you, Faye. Trish, is that where you were going with that?
Yes, because they had, I think the survey talked about how they revised the environment domain and what next, instruction or professionalism.
Oh, got it.
And I had, my administrators sometimes struggle with scoring, and because it's not, some of the things that they're concerned about regarding professionalism and professional behavior is they struggle where to put a score, how to fit it with the indicators, because what the concerns that they may be having don't fit.
Right there.
Dr. Hartwell, just a question. So are we hearing that they're actually more on the, hey, there's a lot of things going on now, but if there were some things that we need to work on, we're open to, moving forward with professionalism, and maybe Daniel says even the MET scale, those are, am I understanding that correctly? That's what you're trying to say?
Yeah, she was making the point that some things that impact professionalism in general aren't captured by that rubric, almost like maybe it's more aligned with like a HR issue or something to that effect, but they struggle to score because of that. So that's great feedback, Trish. Thank you. Well, for the good of the group, this is all we had to share today. We are going to remain on the line until 3 o'clock. If anybody wants to stay on, but we want to release you. We know you have a lot to do. We are so pleased that you shared some of your time with us today. And if nothing else, we will see you in a month or hear from you sooner. All right. Y'all take care, okay? Y'all be safe out there. I can't wave. My camera's not working right now, but
I'm waving on behalf of you, Dr. Hartwell.
Thank you, Faye. Y'all take care out there. If you have any questions, stay on the line. We're here for you.